Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Planning Your Corporate Escape. And if you are new here and you want to join the escapee movement, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button because I am dropping weekly videos now. I have a lot of information I want to share with the public and people looking for this kind of content about early retirement, personal finance, debt elimination, and some of the things myself and my clients are doing so that we can be financially free, independent of relying on jobs and being at the mercy of some of these organizations. Because like you've seen in my other video, there has been just mass layoffs and a lot of people are at the mercy of these companies, and we no longer want to be at the mercy of these companies. We want to take life and our careers into our own hands so that we're able to live the life that we want to live. Now, in this video, I wanted to talk about a time that my boyfriend was fired, because I realized a lot of people are going through that, and their spouse or their partner has been laid off, and they were blindsided by this layoff or their partner being fired. And it's just really devastating when this kind of stuff happens, especially if your husband or boyfriend is the breadwinner of the family or the household. It's just really painful when these kind of things happen, and what they can do to pivot this type of situation. When I was going through this several years ago, because it has been several years for my personal story, but I wanted to make this content because it's still going on for other people. But several years ago, when I was going through this, there wasn't content like the kind of content I'm making on this channel. There was very little content many years ago about early retirement, planning your corporate escape, how to get out of your dreaded 9 to 5s, how to what to do when you're laid off and fired. I just remember feeling like so hopeless. Of course, the depression sinks in. You feel like vulnerable. You feel angry. You feel like, how long will I ever be able to find another job? Even though you'll probably find something, but you just go through all these emotions like, am I going to be able to find another job? How long will I be unemployed? How am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to take care of my family? You just go through so many emotions when you're faced with the layoff or being fired. But anyway, I wanted to share the story about what happened to him. Okay, I think I've shared in some other videos my own personal story, but I just really think this is important to share with my audience who are interested in this content. So many years ago, I started at this oil company here in Texas, because that's where I live. And when I went there, I met the guy that I was in a long-term relationship with, because we're not together today, but we were in a pretty long-term relationship. When I met him at this company, I would say within the first 1 or 2 months, I can't remember the exact time frame, but it was fairly quickly. Within the first, no, actually, maybe it was more than 2 months. Hold on. I might be 4 or 5 months in. So about 4 or 5 months into me working at this company, the company was sold. And this company, if you know anything about the oil and gas industry, we do a lot of business with Mexico. Our rigs are in the Gulf of Mexico. We do business with Singapore. We do business with Canada. A lot of international business. A lot of business in the UK, Aberdeen. A lot of business in London, things like that. So this company was sold off. It was owned by an American black guy and a British UK guy, and they sold it off to, I believe, a UK company. And so they sent over from the UK this manager to run this organization. He had to transfer it to Texas. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I think there could have been a little bit of a cultural thing going on here. So my ex was South American Latino, and him and this guy just kind of didn't click. Like, they just, I don't know, like I said, if it was just that little just men butting heads or men, getting into their own little thing. I just know the guy came over and the dynamics of the office changed. He was like really not tightwad, what is that word? Like uptight, like he was, he was like stern. He was like, and this is an office where everybody was happy. We were like a little family there, because this office, it was small. It wasn't that many staff. So I would say we were like around 20 people or something, but it was a profitable segment of what we did was really profitable in the oil sector. But we were a small company, and he just came over and just was really not very pleasant to work around. But before he came, our office was so much fun. Everybody went out for like drinks and food, and we got along great. And another thing about this company is that guy was upper management. The manager we normally reported to, like more directly, he was like, I guess you could say more middle management. But that guy and my ex knew each other since childhood. So basically they were like a family, basically. So the manager worked there, his brother worked there, my ex worked there, his brother worked there. So those guys all knew each other from since they were children, basically. And this is what I was telling you guys about the mass layoffs, and you have nothing to lose if you go back and check out those videos. I was trying to tell you guys, it doesn't matter if you're friends with your boss. It doesn't matter if you and your boss goes out for drinks. It doesn't matter if they love you and like you. If they don't own the company, they can't protect your job. So basically, my ex and this upper management guy who came over got it. They just didn't see eye to eye, like I said before. So one day he lets him go, and I'm like upset because I don't know what's going on, and I didn't even care at that point, because it was such, like, if you watch my other videos, I talk about it, it's such a low paying job. I was at that point, I was just like, I don't care. So I walked into my upper management boss office and I said, why did you fire him? Like, what did he do? He didn't, we're not aware, because like I said, we were a small family in that office. Everybody got along. We were great. What could he have done to be fired? So he made up something about, when something about his ID or his insurance lapse, or not insurance, what is it called? Driver's license? No, was it the driver's license? Or something about that. He didn't report something about his driver's license, and he was driving the company's truck or something like that. So I was like, okay, I understand that could be a liability for the company, but he could just fix that or whatever. I can't even remember what happened. I'm trying to remember, and I can't even remember. It'll come back to me, but I was like, that could be fixed, but he already fired him, so I was just like, whatever. But how I know this manager was lying, because he ends up hiring another guy who is kind of like, I don't know what you call it, kind of cockeyed, and then he didn't have a license at all. And he started driving this truck. So it just didn't make sense. We all knew it was BS. It was just him not liking my ex. But this is the part where it was really effed up. When the HR manager, okay, so when we were bought, we merged with this other company, and they, in this interim, got to know all of us as well. And we kind of went out, like I said, drinks, food, whatever. So these people got to know us, and they really, really liked, our team and everything a lot. But the HR manager, because she spent so much time coming to our office and just, helping us with benefit packages, and just they had trainings on our 401k, and we had office events and things like that. She just got to know all of us. And so when my ex was fired, the upper management guy who came from the UK, he told the HR lady not to approve his unemployment. So my ex was very angry, of course, and then he went to the HR lady. And then the HR lady said, I understand that he's not firing for kind of like not an illegitimate reason, but like he was trying to find something to fire you on, basically. And she said, I'm going to go ahead and approve your unemployment. So thank God for her. We're still in touch with this lady almost 10 years later. She's amazing. And she actually got screwed over by this company too. Not that manager, but that company that merged. she ended up, like, something happened with her 401k where they wouldn't give her money or something for like 10 years of working. Because remember, she already worked at that other company and they bought it, and they wouldn't release her 401k or something of that nature. She told me years ago. She said she just made peace with it. She let it go, but she ended up losing a lot of money over it. I don't really know. Like I said, it happened a while back, so I don't have all the details on what happened to her. But anyway, it was just really crappy what they did to her. But going back to my ex, like, it was a really difficult time for him because he has a son, and he was a single father because, you know, the mother wasn't around to take care of the son. So he was a single father. He raised his son, and he did not have this job anymore and wasn't sure when he was going to find another job. And I want to say at that time, that was during the time we had it was really hard to find a job because I think that was 09 to 10. So the job market in our city was still recovering from the housing market collapse and the foreclosure market collapse and that's already say the mortgage collapse time frame. So it was like a lot going on in the economy, and so jobs were hard to find. And that was like the year I graduated from college too. So I will say I don't see grown men cry very much, but he was crying so much because he didn't know how he was going to take care of his son. But because I was already going through when I made the other video telling you guys about mass layoffs and you have nothing to lose video, I was describing in that video what I was going through at that time. So I was already starting this thing called planning your corporate escape, like starting this early retirement journey, right? Or being more independent and self-employed journey. So I was telling him, I was like, when I picked him up in the car, I was like, hey, this is what I've been telling you. We can't rely on these jobs. Like, we don't know, like, you didn't even do anything to that guy. He came in acting, you know, crazy. And then he is even though everybody loved you, even the manager who you grew up with, everybody knows your character, everybody knows you. This guy comes from out of nowhere and he determines whether or not you can work here because of some personal, you know, vendetta or issue he's having, not because you actually did something really bad or you're a bad employee. And on top of that, he tried to stop his unemployment. Like, why would that unemployment is not your money or whatever? Why would you try to stop someone from getting their unemployment so they could survive until they find another job? Like, why are you so like nasty and evil that you would do that to someone who needs to take care of their family? So it was really a disgusting move on his part. But this is what I was trying to tell him back then. I was like, this is why I told you we got to start, you know, investing. We got to start doing this. We have to start so that in a few, you know, 5, 10, 15 years down the road, we're not in this predicament again. It may take us time to build back up, but we're not at the mercy of these companies anymore, because look at how someone can lie on you or like make up things or just not like you personally, and then they can stop your unemployment and just take things from you, you know, and you've been working so hard for it. Like, look at how easy that was for him to do that. So like I said, thank God for the HR manager. She knew that it was more to the story. She knew to override that and go ahead and approve his unemployment, and that kept us afloat between me having my job and my savings, and then his unemployment. That kept us afloat for as we, you know, built our relationship and kept going. He eventually did find a job, but the jobs were so low pay. Remember, he had to remember when I talked about in other videos that sometimes when you lose one job that's paying you one amount, when you try to go and find another job, you may not get that amount. You may or may not get that amount. But he eventually did find some jobs going up a little more in income and salary. And he was able to get back on his feet and things like that. But I just really think, especially with men that are providers and they, you know, take pride in being able to take care of their family and their spouse and their partners, I really think is just so detrimental to see them crash like that. I personally don't get that angry about job loss like that. I feel like God has always made a way, and he always will make a way. But I think for men, it is a lot harder when you take away their livelihood. It really affects them. To me, it seems like they go into a deeper depression. I could be wrong, but it just seems that way to me when they're not able to take care of their family. But I wanted to read some comments to you guys. Here's a few comments of people who went through something similar, and this is what prompted me to make this video. Because, like I said in some of the other videos I made, I didn't even know people, because the way social media has grown over the years, I'm able to connect more with people who are going through some of the things we went through or I went through, and people who share this common goal to be more independent of these companies and having something for ourselves besides relying on these paychecks from these companies, because we realize it is so unstable in our economy and in our society. I also wanted to share with you guys, I don't think, when I look at immigration and how it's affecting, because we're in Texas, so we have a high, like California and New York, we're going to a very massive illegal immigration issue, and our schools are full. Some of our schools, parents are complaining that they can't even get their kids into school because there's no room, because there's so many children, and most of them are not documented children. So I started looking at, during my research and other stuff, that I started to think that immigration, because of this, the way things are going with these jobs, I started thinking that immigration was done a little, like this illegal immigration part was done a little bit on purpose, because I really think our government could have closed the borders. From what I understand, it can be done. It can be limited, maybe not 100%, but it could probably be reduced by upwards of 70%, 80%. Some people even said, no, it can actually be, like, there's countries where this would not even be allowed the way that things are going. But I also think that when these companies, when I look at what people are, if you go to like a lot of these TikTok rants, people are starting to complain about how they haven't been able to find a job. They got these degrees, they got experience, they're applying to like these jobs, but they're never getting called back, so they're getting these automatic rejections, and they know they're qualified. They're not even getting interviews. They have applied for over 3,000 jobs, and they're barely getting an interview. If you apply for 3,000 jobs, you should at least get an interview. Now, if you bomb the interview, that's a whole nother story. But if you're applying, you're not even getting a call back. That is very strange. And so I believe that with the increase of immigrants, whether they become legal immigrants or undocumented immigrants, I feel like some of the jobs, there's actually a video of a guy, he's Indian, he's even complaining. And then I have people who are Hispanic, Latino are complaining. So if they start complaining about how there's no jobs, or they're having trouble with this issue as well, and they've been here longer, I think there's a problem with that. But I'm gonna tell you about that guy who made that TikTok about being Indian and getting his job outsourced to India. That was pretty funny. But I believe that that's what's causing some of these suppressed wages, because, like, let's just say you want an administration job, just those jobs like admin, a lot of these office jobs, I'm noticing they're $17 an hour, $15 an hour, and people are so lost because they're like, wait a minute, I have a degree. Chick-fil-A, McDonald's are paying that. Why are you trying to pay me $15 and $17, $23? People are so baffled by this, and I think that because these companies or our government has allowed so many people to come here that they could do that, they're able to keep the wages so low that people they can find people to work for those wages. Even if you start talking to some Uber drivers, start talking to some Lyft drivers, you'll see that when it started 10 years ago, it used to be like you can make $25, $30 an hour. Now it's like they're sending people $2 rides, $4 rides, $3 rides. Like Uber Eats, people are getting $1.59 to go pick up somebody's food, $2.59, $3, $5. Like, why would you, how is anybody going to pay for gas and go get someone's food or deliver or pick people up for those low prices? So I think what they're doing is they're seeing who will do that kind of work for that low amount of money. And it is a real thing. If you guys don't believe me, just talk to some of these Uber drivers, Lyft drivers out here. They'll say, yeah, I'm getting $3 requests, $5 requests. Uber's only give me $5 or $3, and I got to work for an hour or 45 minutes to go pick something up and bring it to someone else. So I think when people start to flood the country and they could, some of them are undocumented or whatever, I think that they're testing if they can get them to do those kind of jobs, and then they don't have to increase wages. That's why a lot of people you see I'm ranting about these wages not increasing. Oh, the guy who's the Indian. So I think it's a TikTok video. I don't know I saw it go by, but you probably have to look it up. It's like there's this Indian guy, and he said HR had called him into the office, or called a group of them into the office and said, hey, guys, we're going to let you guys know your IT jobs have been eliminated. And then the guy goes, oh, okay. Well, I guess he says, like, well, like what happened? He said, well, we're going to send your jobs to India. And then the guy goes, oh, okay. Well, if you send my job to India, I'm Indian and I grew up in India. So I'll just go back and I'll go work the job in India or whatever. I'll work my same IT job in India. And I think, of course, he makes six figures here in America. And then he said the HR people replied to him, like, no, we want Indians in India so we could pay them less money. And and then he makes you got to hear him say it. First of all, I'm butchering this whole video. You have to hear him say it, but then he said that, oh, and after I heard that, I turned it to all you guys fathers, and I said, all them damn Indians are taking our jobs. He said, he does an accent, but he's basically saying, like, even he's here in America. He's been here. I think he was raised here from when he was a child, and his parents brought him from India. He goes and gets, does what everybody else is doing, gets a college degree, works his way up in IT, and they eliminated their jobs and sent them to India, and they're going to pay them less money instead of, like, and then he's willing to go back to India because he's still, like I said, he still goes back and forth anyway to visit his family. He said he'll go back to India and work the job as long as he can keep his job, and they won't give him the job. Whoa. And I'm sure he speaks the language, It's just getting out of control. And that's when I realized, I said, I really think these wages are being suppressed intentionally. They're not being raised intentionally. But anyway, let me get to this. I wanted to read some comments to you guys, but there's a guy who's like, he's commenting, he says, you absolutely hit the nail on the head. Nearly 20 years in corporate America and nearly 40, and he's a 40-year-old male. I've been through 8 rounds of layoffs, survived 7, hit by 1 multiple merger and acquisition, change management, blah, blah, blah. I'm so tired of it. All I want to do is be left alone and just do my job. Enough is enough with the corporate culture. Another guy, 27 years in enterprise software sales, and while it pays, it is completely soul-sucking, and frankly, I care less and less about tech as I get older. Tired of drinking the Kool-Aid. The idiot bosses, the micromanagement, the rah-rah BS, the unachievable expectations, the constant scrutiny, the stress, the anxiety that affects your health and happiness. I'm 54 and I can't wait to the day I am 54 and can't wait for the day I have never had to do another, I don't know what QBR stands for, but it's something with his job. I was happy in my career. This is what happened. This is what happened to my ex. This is why I was trying to make this video so you guys can see what is happening out here. I was happy in my career. This person thinks they're gonna probably stay at this job for most of their career. But this happened. I was happy in my career until March 6th when my great boss left the company, and now I had a new boss. By March 17th, I was a problem. By June, I was absolutely done. I retired at the end of June. That was a great decision. I was lucky to have 26 years with a great manager. Unfortunately, he was forced out, and the person they brought in was completely different, arrogant, didn't listen, talked over you, went behind your back to other employees. That was it for me. Luckily, I'm 60 years old, saved in my 401k, and put in my 2-week notice. Can't tell you how good that felt. The stress in that building. I'm much happier. So there's more. I just wanted to share those three because I thought those were some great ones to share with you guys. But I just wanted to tell you, if you have been, you have a bad boss that comes into your company and just changes the dynamic of the organization, and it was a peaceful place for you to work and be, and you thought you were going to be at that place for many years to come, and someone comes in and interrupts that, you just have to be ready for that at any company that you work for. So some of the things that my ex did, and I wanted to suggest with you guys, he told me years ago when this had happened to him, like, I never ever want to be in this position again. I never want to be at the mercy of a company like that ever again. So what he did is, of course, look at your expenses, try to see where you can cut down, try to cut out unnecessary spending and cut down on your expenses. Do not wait until you're forced to cut down on your expenses. Do not wait until you're borderline homeless to things hit rock bottom. Start doing it now. Start looking at where your money is going. Start looking at some investments you can, like some dividends paying stocks and mutual funds that you can start investing in. Start building up, like your cash reserves. Start doing this today. Let me tell you, you do not need a lot of money. If you have it, that's great. But let's just say you're able to, in the next 4 years, let's just use 4 years, put away, like $10,000, and then 10,000 in 4 years, that's 40 grand, and then do an 8% annualized return on that, or do a 12% depending on where the market will be, depending on what you predict that fund could return based on maybe its historical returns. Just do like a calculation or estimate, and I think you'll end up somewhere around 50,000-60,000. So with your initial investment plus your rate of return, you could end up with like 50,000-60,000. That's not a lot. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's a start. And this is some of the things that he started to implement, was just making sure he has something in the bank for himself, because a lot of times people think these jobs are gonna, like him, he thought, okay, the people I grew up with are my managers. I don't plan to leave this job. I like working here. I'm safe. He thought that until that happened. And of course I came in his life, I feel like at the right time and stuff. He says that, because I taught him, even if you wanted to be there that long, you needed to start working on this anyway. I think we were in our late 20s, almost going into 30s. So we were almost in our 30s. So you needed to start planning for this, your retirement or your corporate escape, or building up a passive income stream for yourself. You needed to do that regardless of if that guy laid you off or not. So with that money, you're not as stressed, because he did have another layoff. I think there was another layoff with the other job, or I don't know if he quit that job. I can't remember. But then he was able to take another job, and that job has some traveling involved, and he likes to travel, and he likes to go hunting and fishing. He loves to do stuff like that. So I think the job took him to like Montana and some other areas where he liked to go, because they have mountains, and Texas, where we live is real flat. So he was able to travel. He was able to take that risk. He was able to do take that position because he had that savings starting to build up. Whereas if you have zero, then you're like I said, at the mercy of the companies, and then you're stressed out because you don't have anything saved for yourself. A lot of people think they need a lot of money. You do not. You need money, but just to get started, you will be surprised how far $250,000, $400,000 portfolio could take you. It could sustain you, most people, for basic necessities for at least some people up to 4, 5, 10 years. Where we want to be multimillionaires and have more than that is because we have a lot of we're consumer, like a consumerist society, where we want all these luxury things and all this we want to go out to eat all the time, and we want to travel, and we want to buy nicer cars and all this stuff. So that's where a lot of our income is spent. But if you just look at the basic necessities of life, like food, clothes, shelter, and maybe a little bit of recreational activities, most people can live pretty decently off 50 to maybe 70,000 a year. And I'm talking just the basic necessities. I'm not talking about anything luxurious. So if you have a portfolio 200 to 400 grand and you're laid off, you could usually sustain yourself for multiple years until you find something you love or until you start your own business. We started investing at this time. We started buying some real estate at that time, so we were doing pretty well. So we had a good extra income coming in from that. But I just wanted to share that with you. If you have a spouse that's been laid off, just tell them, or a partner, just tell them that just if they haven't worked on a plan to deal with that, to be in a position to be fired or laid off, and they don't have enough saved for a few years so that they can live comfortably until they find something else, then you just want to sit down and you guys want to just work out some type of financial plan where you will be okay financially if that does happen to one of you guys. Because like I said, sometimes it is taking people a lot longer to find jobs these days, and you don't want to be forced to take like a really low paying job, or take something that you don't want to take, all because you're desperate. So if you start now, especially if you are working, start right now creating a financial plan for yourself. Please don't wait. Don't wait until you're forced into it. Don't wait until you don't have enough money to do it. Do it while you have that check coming in so that you can be in a better position. All right, guys, I think that's enough for this content in this video today. I'm going to be dropping more content, so please make sure you like and subscribe so you can get notification of when I drop more videos on early retirement, financial freedom, debt elimination, and what me and my clients are doing to have financial independence and freedom. Thank you guys so much for watching.